Now that I have a 6-month-old, I wanted to create a project that would serve as both a nightlight as well as a way for her to fall asleep to the soothing sounds of some sort of music. To that end, I decided to create a stuffed rainbow with a cloud that would light up and play music. The actual plushie would be made out of fleece. There would be LEDs on the cloud under each color band. There'll be a lily pad on the back of the cloud, and a buzzer inside with the tune Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And finally, there would be a switch that would change the lighting. Having made plushies before, I knew that I had to have both a front and a back for this to work. I also knew that I would have to sew the bottoms of the cloud together so that I could sew across from the microcontroller to each of the LEDs. Furthermore, before any construction, I diagrammed out what my circuit might look like. I used black to represent positive lines and red to represent negative lines. The buzzer would go to A3 from the positive side and the negative to the negative. There would be a button on the left and a switch on the right. The switch would go to A9, the button to A4, and the LEDs would go to A5, 6, A7, and A8 respectively. I chose the colors of fleece based upon the colored LEDs that I had. The family came out to Joann's to participate in this with me, and Ella was very appreciative of all the colors that I chose for her. And so I began my construction by sewing together colors for the bands of rays of light and the clouds underneath, making sure that both sides were equal. Before actually sewing on the LEDs though, I decided to check my code and write some code to see that everything would work. I created different ints for all the different colored LEDs that I had and set the LEDs to output and the buzzer to output, and of course the switch as an input. I then wrote the basic loop of the code. It creates a switch value that reads the switch. The switch value will either be on or off, or in this case, low or high. If the switch value is low, I will turn all the lights on and play the music. However, if the switch value is high, I will flash the lights. The flash function consists of all on and all off with a delay in between. In all on, I turn all the lights on, and in all off, I turn all the lights off. Pure tones come out in square waves, and they sound a little bit computerized and tinny. So I did some research and found a function that would actually create more squares to have a more acoustic tone to the sound. I would just have to use that function when I actually created the tones in Play Music. To create the Play Music function, I looked up the sheet music for Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and I also looked up the frequencies for different values of notes. And I used the beep function in order to play that particular frequency for the amount of time that I declared in my instance variables up on top. I have finished sewing, and it is time to see if the code works on my project. So here we go. I'm going to verify my code, and now I'm going to upload it onto, and we got something happening. Oh, and my lights turned on. There we go. And you can see that it's filleted, so that I could sew over from the microcontroller over across the cloud over to each of the different lights. And if I were to press on, let's see what happens. It plays a song. So it works. Testing is successful. Here is the finished product. Here's the front, and here's the back, now that it's all sewn up. And if you turn it on, the lights blink automatically because the switch is currently set in the off position. But if you set this switch to on, the lights all turn on and a song plays. And the song will continue playing up until the end. And once it ends and I turn the switch off again, it goes back to flashing lights. And this is the finished product.